Daily Devotion number 15, Luke 20. On one of the days, as Jesus was instructing the people of the temple and preaching the good news, the chief priests and scribes, along with the elders, confronted him and said to him, "Tell us by what kind of authority you are doing these things, or who is the one who gave you this authority?" Jesus replied, "I will also ask you a question, you tell me. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or from men?" They discussed and debated among themselves, saying, "If we say from heaven, he will say, 'Why did you not believe him?' But if we say from men, all the people will stone us to death, for they firmly convinced that John was a prophet." So they replied that they did not know where it came. Then Jesus said to them, "Nor am I telling you by what kind of authority I do these things." Then he began to tell the people this parable. A man planted a vineyard and leased it to a tenant farmer and went on a journey for a long time. At harvest time, he sent a servant to his tenants so that they would give him his share of the fruit of the vineyard. But the tenants beat the servant and sent him away empty-handed. So he again sent another servant. They also tried to beat him and dishonored him and treated him disgracefully and sent him away empty-handed. He sent yet a third, and this one they wounded and threw out. Then the owner of the vineyard said, "What shall I do? I will send my beloved son. Perhaps they will have respect for him." But when the tenants saw him, they discussed it among themselves, saying, "This is the heir. Let us kill him so that the inheritance will be ours." So when they threw the son out of the vineyard and killed him, what then will the owner of the vineyard do to them? He will come and put these tenants to death and give the vineyard to others. When the chief priests and scribes and elders heard this, they said, "May it never be." But Jesus looked at them and said, "What then is this that is written? The stone that which builders rejected became the chief cornerstone. Everyone who falls on the stone will be broken and shattered into pieces, and on whomever it falls, it will crush him." The scribes and the chief priests tried to arrest him at that very hour, but they were afraid of the people, because they understood that he spoke this parable against them. So they watched him. They sent spies to pretend to be upright and sincere, in order that they might catch him in some statement, so that they could turn him over to the control and authority of the governor. They asked him, "Teacher, we know that you speak and teach correctly, and that you show no partiality in any way, but teach the way of God truthfully. Is it lawful for us to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" But he saw through their trickery and said to them, "Show me a denarius whose image and inscription does the coin have." They answered, "Caesar's." He said to them, "Then pay to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." And they were not able to seize on anything. And he said in the presence of his people, and being unnerved at the reply, they were silent. Now some of the Sadducees came to him, and they questioned him, saying, "Teacher, Moses wrote for us, if a man's brother dies, leaving a wife and no children, his brother should marry the wife and raise children for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers, and the first took a wife and died childless, and the second and the third married her, and in the same way all 7 died, leaving no children. Finally, the woman also died. So in the resurrection, whose wife does she become? For all 7 had married her." Jesus said to them, "The sons of this age marry and are given in marriage. But those who are considered worthy to gain that age and the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage. And they cannot die, because they are immortal, like the angels. And they are children of God, being participants in the resurrection. But even Moses showed in the passage about the burning bush, when he calls the Lord the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Now he is not the God of the dead, but of the living, for all live to him." Some of the scribes replied, "Teacher, you have spoken well." And they did not dare to question him further about anything. Then he said to them, "How is it that people say that the Christ is David's son? For David himself says in the book of Psalms, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet.'" So David calls him the Son, Lord. And how then is he David's son? And with all people listening, he said to his disciples, Beware of the scribes, who like to walk around in long robes and love respectful greetings in the crowded marketplaces, and the chief seats in the synagogues, and the places of honor at banquets. These who confiscate and devour widows' houses for a pretense offer long prayers. These men will receive the greater sentence of condemnation.